Well, hello there, literary thrill seekers, and welcome once again to my YouTube channel, Old Man Reads Poetry. I'm your host, the aforementioned Old Man. And as I post this, it is Monday, April 28, which, in case you're not aware of it, is National Great Poetry Reading Day. Now, the internet seems torn about this special day's origins. Some sources say its origins are a mystery, while others suggest that it dates to 2015 or 16, although no one seems to know whom to blame for it. But no matter. No holiday could be more apropos for this channel than a Great Poetry Reading Day. And to celebrate it this year, I will be reading for you Shelley's poem, Ozymandias, widely recognized as a great poem and perhaps Shelley's best known. But enough of introductions. What you came for was a poetry reading. So let's get to it. Ozymandias by Percy Shelley. I met a traveler from an antique land who said, "Two vast and trunkless legs of stone stand in the desert. Near them, on the sand, half sunk, a shattered visage lies, whose frown and wrinkled lip and sneer of cold command tell that its sculptor well those passions read which yet survive, stamped on these lifeless things, the hand that mocked them and the heart that fed. And on the pedestal these words appear, my name is Ozymandias, King of Kings. Look on my works, ye mighty, and despair. Nothing beside remains. Round the decay of that colossal wreck, boundless and bare, the lone and level sands stretch far away." Percy Bysshe Shelley was an English poet who lived from 1792 to 1882, a tragically short span of only 29 years. He was a contemporary of, among others, Lord Byron, John Keats, Samuel Taylor Coleridge, Leigh Hunt, and the great William Wordsworth. He lived during what is now referred to as the Romantic period in English literature, and although neither he nor his peers necessarily referred to themselves as Romantic poets, he is today considered one of the greatest of that group. You might say that he needed to be a great poet in order to avoid being known today merely as the husband of Mary Shelley, who was the author of the well-known 1818 Gothic novel Frankenstein. Percy Shelley wrote essays, drama, and prose fiction, but is best remembered today for his poetry. And the poem I just read you, Ozymandias, is perhaps his best known. It is widely anthologized and occasionally referred to in modern popular culture. For example, in the 2018 film, The Ballad of Buster Scruggs, it is recited in its entirety by actor Harry Melling. His recitation is readily available on the internet. You might like to look it up and compare his performance with my own. If you do so, feel free to give me your thoughts in the comments section below. Now, it's likely you have never encountered the name Ozymandias as that of a real historical figure, and so you may be wondering whether he was a fictional creation of Shelley's. He was not. Ozymandias is a version of the name the ancient Greeks gave to Ramesses II, one of the most successful and longest reigning pharaohs of Egypt. And contrary to what Shelley suggests in his poem, he has not been forgotten by history. In fact, he is now one of the most studied pharaohs, and by extension, one of the best remembered rulers of ancient times. Numerous colossal statues of him survive, including the specific one which inspired this poem, the head and upper torso of which is now in the British Museum. I don't know about you, but I, for one, do not see in this sculpture a frown and wrinkled lip and sneer of cold command, as Shelley describes it. Here are some more statues of Ramesses II, and I don't see it in them either. Do you? However, Shelley was not necessarily interested in being fair to the historical Ozymandias. The point he is making in his poem is very much in keeping with his own anti-authoritarian political philosophy. And the point of the poem, of course, is an ironic one. Irony can take many forms. One familiar form is a situation where results are exactly opposite to expectations. This is called situational irony. Shelley is suggesting that Ozymandias expected his monumental construction projects to bring him respect in his own time and presumably down through history, but that ironically, his monuments are lost and his achievements forgotten. As many before me have observed, he is reminding us, quite rightfully, that human fame is fleeting and our human ambitions, especially outsized ambitions of being long remembered, are often in vain. Nothing beside remains. The lone and level sands stretch far away. Now, one last thing about this poem. As I have already said, Shelley is here pointing out a supposed irony. Irony sometimes takes the form of a joke in the joke's on you sense of the word. The joke is on Ozymandias, Shelley seems to be saying. But is it really? Since Shelley's time, archaeological research has produced a wealth of information about Pharaoh Ramesses II, making him, at least among scholars, very well remembered indeed. It has also unearthed some of the monumental construction projects which Ramesses II oversaw. Most impressive of these is the great temple of Abu Simbel. Clearly, Pharaoh Ramesses II did have some justification for bragging about his achievements. But I see an even greater irony here. Even if later developments in the field of Egyptology had not put the lie to Shelley's poetic statement, "Nothing beside remains," Shelley himself has actually undermined the point of his own poem. He meant to use Ozymandias as an illustration of the vanity of human ambition. Yet, by making Ozymandias a byword for vain ambition, his well-known poem has actually guaranteed Ozymandias lasting fame. Now that is ironic. So there are in fact two ironies in this poem, an intended one and an unintended one. Shelley could not possibly have known how popular this poem would become. In his own lifetime, his works were not widely published. Today, however, most poetry lovers know this poem and the name Ozymandias. The joke is on Ozymandias, says the poem. But, as it has turned out, perhaps the bigger joke is on Shelley. If you have enjoyed this video, or think you have benefited from it in any way, please give me a thumbs up to show you liked it. If you would like more of the same, please subscribe to this channel. It would help me greatly. We must feed the algorithm, you know. Also, please post a comment below saying what you liked and or didn't like about the reading, and if there's another poem you would like to hear me read, please request it. Until next time, thanks for watching.